Hi everyone, it's Paul here with another video. Hope you're all doing well, and thanks for tuning in again if you're watching this. So what do I have for you today? Well, let's start with the book that I've just finished, which I spoke about a little bit last week. I think with my videos now, actually it's going to be something like a weekly check-in, just with what I'm reading, where I'm up to, and various other things thrown in that, and hopefully people will enjoy that kind of format going forward with weekly videos. But anyway, the book I've just finished, again I spoke about this last week somewhat, is The Ascent of Rum Doodle. So what are my thoughts after finishing the book? It was a very, the thing with this is it has a very silly, it's a comedy, and it's a very silly kind of sense of humour that it would appeal to, and I do have a very silly sense of humour, and so I enjoyed it to an extent. But the humour was just, as I said last week, the humour was so relentless, and it was like that from page 1 to the final page 170, and which is okay, you know. But I appreciated the humour, but it was just a flood of it, you know. It was too much without a really meaty story, and so I guess I struggled with that somewhat. That being said, maybe it's a little unfair because, as we all know, mixed in with comedy is tragedy. You know, the two are kind of interlinked somewhat, and yeah, there's definitely touches of sadness in this book as well. So, you know, for example, dealing with loss, dealing with mistakes, but in a very funny way. You know, it just it's something actually that I'm aware of, and I'd like to really have a deeper understanding of, is just how comedy and tragedy link together. You know, I've got a general understanding of that, but I haven't really given it much thought, and I think I'd like to understand more on that subject, because it's actually quite fascinating how the two are, I guess, polar opposites, but yet linked so closely. And I think, you know, with regard to the comedy, that leads me on to the book that I'm currently reading. Again, I mentioned this briefly last time, which was Rumples Return by John Mortimer. And I just started this the other day. I'm on page 40, chapter 6, and I'm loving it. You know, it's smart. It's got a real good plot to it so far. And I like the humour, but the humour in this is different. It's kind of more, it's not silly, it's kind of more witty and clever, and you know, clever observations, and it's I love that. And I think I it made me think about humour in general and what kind of things that I find funny. And I have a strong sense of humour, and I have quite a silly sense of humour, I guess. But comparing these two books, I think I realised that I actually prefer sort of something more witty, you know, witticisms and that kind of thing. It makes me think of the TV series Frasier. You know, I think that's the kind of humour that I like best. You know, the kind of witty remarks and all that kind of thing. That really works for me. What I don't like, at the risk of sounding brutish, is kind of humour that is designed to shock, kind of dirty humour or black humour. Meaning, humour around dark subjects such as death or etc. I'm not looking down my nose at that kind of humour, it's just that it's something that doesn't really work for me, and so it's interesting to ponder that. But so far, I would absolutely recommend this book, and it'll be interesting to see what I feel about it next week when I'll have finished it. It's not a big book, so we have that. And I thought that I would just show you this other book that I picked up a short time ago at the library that was being thrown out, and I think it's a beautiful book actually. It's on Scottish mammals. Look at that cover. I mean, isn't that just an excellent cover? And quite obviously it talks about Scottish mammals. There's a surprise, but it has these little diagrams, as you may expect. A fox there, and it looks very interesting. I'm not sure yet if I'm going to read this word for word. I may do. There's another image of a pine marten, which there are they are to be found in this area, but if you catch a sighting of one, you're very lucky, because they're not very often seen at all. So it's always a cause for excitement when you see a pine marten. I have seen a couple, because I used to work overnight, and you've got more chance of seeing them, I think, overnight. So fascinating creatures. But I think that this book, it would be very interesting. I mean, it depends how it's written. I mean, if it reads like a textbook, I probably won't read it word for word. But if it's a bit more digestible than that, then I probably will read the whole thing. I mean, there's things that I feel quite ignorant about, and one of them being the nature around me and the animals to be found within it. And so it's certainly something that I want to read up on. And so now, just finally, why don't we do a little random number generated book from the past, from my trusty reading log, which contains everything that I've read. And so let me just generate a random number on the phone, and we'll see where it takes us today. Well, the random number today is 311. So let's see what book that brings us to from the past. 311. Okay. This was a very interesting book. And forgive me if I'm getting the pronunciation wrong. I'm not very good in that area, but the book is called The Island of Dr. Moreau, I think, by H.G. Wells. Now, I would go as far as to say that H.G. Wells is, I think, one of my favourite authors. Other books I've read from H.G. Wells are the Time Machine, which was a fascinating book, and The Invisible Man as well. But The Island of Dr. Moreau, yeah, that was very interesting. I'm trying to remember the details, but it was based on an island where I think they were doing experiments on human beings. You know, I think there were scientists who got away with extremely unethical experiments by hiding themselves away on this island, and the protagonist in the book, the hero, found himself there and slowly began to realise the extent of these experiments and what was really going on, and you know, how he survived on that island when it got to the point where he knew too much and that kind of thing. And I would recommend it. It was really a thought-provoking book. So yeah, H.G. Wells, and also, but I think you know, my preferred book by H.G. Wells is certainly The Time Machine, and I think I've spoken about that book before on this channel. But The Time Machine for me was one of those books that just kind of stay with you. You know, it just kind of really resonates with something deep inside you, and the story is just there with you always, never to be forgotten. And so yeah, so I think that's everything that I have to talk about today. I hope you're all doing well. I hope that things are going okay with you all, and yeah, thanks for watching. It's always appreciated. And so all the best, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.